A couple of weeks ago, I uploaded a video where my mom chooses my TBR. In that video, we went book shopping and she picked out all the books without any help from me. I asked her to pick out books that she thinks that I'd like, and she picked out a lot of books, but I got her to narrow it down to 4. So now I'm going to be reading all 4 of those books and seeing what I think. This one I did find the audiobook for, and I'm gonna partly read it too. I'm just gonna listen to it to get into it while I do stuff around the house.
Hard Row Books, and
I'm more than 50% the way through The Lost Apothecary. It takes place in 2 different times and with 3 different character POVs. It's Nella, Eliza, and Caroline. Nella and Eliza are in the past and they're working in this apothecary. They make poisons to give to people, women specifically, for like protecting themselves or like some reason to basically kill men, and she never gives them to anyone who is planning to use them to hurt women. In the current timeline, there is a girl named Caroline, and she found out that her husband was cheating on her. She decided to go on the vacation they were going to go on by herself. She's in London and she finds this like she doesn't know it's apothecary vial, but she finds this vial. She's really into history. Initially, she like wanted to go to school to do like research like that. Her marriage kind of stopped her from doing that. As you're reading it, you're like reading those stories at the same time, and you're just seeing her discover these secrets from the past that no one yet knows about in her present time. It's really good, but it's not like completely my taste in books. This book just took a crazy turn. So the girl with the perspective in present time in the book, she's researching this old apothecary and she's like looking up how much of a non-poison you need for it to be poisonous, because that's how the apothecary like killed people, and she's researching the old apothecary. Now that I see where it's going, now I don't know where further it's going. It's like scaring me. I'm enjoying the story so far, but I'm also kind of bored. It's the type of story that I feel like is written well. Feels like a good story, but at the same time, it's not one that I'm very interested in personally. I finished The Lost Apothecary. Here are my final thoughts on it. I'm about to go to bed. My Invisalign's in, but I just want to talk about it while it's fresh in my head. I think that it's a good book for the genre. I just think that I don't really like historical fiction very much. I did, however, really like the ending. I like full-on gasped at the ending. I liked that it was a historical fiction set around women and their stories. It's definitely a mystery. It unfolds and like magic is brought up in it, but you never really know if it's what it is. Because I was bored, I feel like I wasn't absorbing as much as I should have been, like taking in all of the details. I definitely liked parts of it, but not enough. I just started 365 Days. I'm on the 2nd page and I really don't like this dude at all. He's not the kind of dark romance love interest that I would want, you know, so far. We'll see how it goes, but I'm worried. I'm on the 2nd page and I'm kind of worried about where this is going. I want to explain a little bit why, because it's not a spoiler because I'm only on the 2nd page. This is the sentence that actually really got to me. He was like, I required all my employees to be aesthetically pleasing. I liked my things pretty. He's like trying to just hire a bunch of people who he can randomly hook up with, basically. So far, I don't like him, but we'll see. I might DNF this. I might just have to DNF it. It's bad. It's real bad. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit more time. Dude is obsessed. He is, I think he's a little bit crazy. She's from Poland and she says, I want to go back to Poland. Please let me go home. And he says, unfortunately, that won't be possible during the next 365 days. I want you to sacrifice a year for me. I will do everything in my power to make you fall in love with me. If I fail by your next birthday, I will set you free. Don't get me wrong. This is not a proposal. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Dude, now he's threatening to like kill her family. That took such a turn. That's crazy. Because on the page before that, he's like, I just want to respect you and I don't want to control you. Okay, make it make sense. Hello? I DNF'd 365 Days. I read it, some of it last night, and then I read more of it this morning, and I got like almost halfway through, but I just know the vibe of it by now. Like, I know what it's about, and I'm just not, I don't like it. I just really do not like the love interest guy in this, and I don't think I actually really like any of the characters. I think this is just one of those things where it's like not my type of dark romance. It's not really what I'm into. That's that. Hello, it is a new day. It's actually nighttime. I'm starting The Hating Game. I actually already did start it. I started listening to the audiobook because I was kind of going through not necessarily a reading slump, but I just specifically didn't want to read the books that were on my TBR. This one and The Hollow? What is it called? Okay, I can't find that book right now, but I'll put it up on the screen. I've been listening to the audiobook of that one, and then I also been listening to the audiobook of this, but now I'm gonna read it. First off, about The Hating Game, you know how there's a movie? There's a movie that came out, I think like a year ago or so, and I watched that, and it completely changed the experience of reading it, because in the beginning it's like an enemies to lovers, but now like all the little miscommunications I know the answers to. At least like I think all of the ones that I've read so far, like I know what's going on. It kind of takes the tension away because I'm like, I know what's happening, but I'm gonna keep on reading and see if that's a different experience than listening to the audiobook and seeing if I could still get wrapped up in it, because I think I'll still like the story, and I even like it so far. I just know, like I know what's up. Their co-workers, they just dislike each other so much. You know what it kind of reminds me of is Dwight and Jim's rivalry from The Office, where they like do all these little things to try to annoy the other one. It's giving that sort of energy. They're kind of both like obviously obsessed with each other and obsessing over how much they hate one another. Little changes in the way I talk, the way I focus in on changes in the way I walk. Tell the story how it can have gone. It's in the present, I don't. I'm at the part where she's telling him about her dream. It's an interesting dynamic because they are enemies right now in the workplace, and at the same time it's just like enemies with very obvious like sexual tension, but it's just like, it's so like they're literally saying words that sound like that. I don't know what she's trying to do. I think that's what's throwing me, is that I don't know what the MC is trying to do right now. Like it almost feels like she's trying to seduce him, but she's not. And she's like, I hate him. Lucy and Joshua are competing for a job, and he just did something that surprised her. If you know, you know, but I won't say anything because it will spoil it. I'm liking it so far. I really wish I didn't know like the reasoning behind everything and why everything was happening, because I think that is affecting the experience so much. But I feel like if I hadn't seen the movie already, I'd be really intrigued in what's actually going on. And I do like it. I don't love it, but I like it. I am more than halfway through the book right now. I'm on I'm chapter 18. I am really loving it. There's like certain little things that are not my favorite, to where I don't think it's gonna be like a 5-star read, but I really love it. Right now at this point, if I were to rate it, I think I would give it like a 4 stars. I really enjoy it, and I've read like a couple of office sort of situations, and I think that this one's like one of my favorite that I've read. I'm happy my mom picked it out because I'm actually really enjoying it, and it also feels like a romance classic to me. Like it feels like one of those ones that was like at the very beginning of me getting into reading again. This is the book that people were talking about. I kind of want to see what year this came out. This came out in 2016, which is kind of crazy because I thought it came out way later than that. I thought it came out maybe like 2019, 18 at the earliest. I'm almost done with the book. Lucy just did something so amazing, and I remember it from the movie, but I forgot. I'm not gonna say what it is, but she just did something that I think I love her. I think I love her, actually. I'm not gonna finish it tonight because I kind of promised myself I'd start actually trying to go to bed early, because I haven't been getting a lot of sleep, and that's just not good for anyone, so I'm gonna try to go to sleep now. But just know, I just love Lucy so much. Like, that was just one of the most amazing scenes I've ever read in any book ever. I think like right now it has potential to be like a 4.5 because there are still like little things that I don't love about it. Just like I don't even know how to explain it. Maybe it's that they're outdated or something, but this book is from 2016. It just, some things in it, and this is like very few things, but feels like a little bit like I'm like, I don't really like that much. I just love the way Josh is as well. Like, it's just so great. Personally, he's one of those characters who's like mean to everyone but her. I kind of don't like that, but there's like reasoning behind that. Like, that's kind of a big point of the story almost. Guys, I finished The Hating Game and I loved the ending so much. I just grew to love and love them more and more. That was one of the most like vulnerable love admission scenes that I'd ever read, and it really like made me emotional. I think I teared up. All things considered, I would give that book a 4.5. It was really good and I loved it, and I know why it's like a classic now, because it's just so good. My next update is actually kind of a big one. I didn't finish it. I'm like halfway through House of Hollows. I was listening to an audiobook because I just could not find it in me to pick this up and start reading it. In the middle of reading it, my loan that I had, that I borrowed from the public library online, it expired. So I have to just read the rest of it, which I mean is kind of good because I like getting clips of me reading it, but at the same time, I don't specifically want to read this book because it's already like a scary book, and just imagining it being silent as I'm like reading something scary is just like awful. This is like a horror book. It's like a YA horror book, and because it's horror, it's like gruesome and it has like decay in it and like blood and insects. Like, that's what the cover has on it, so it's like obviously it would have those things, but something about reading that is just really disgusting. Like, I'm just not a horror fan, I think, because some parts of this book I can't listen to it. Like, if I'm eating and I like have this audiobook playing, I just get so grossed out. I'm like, I need to pause this and like think of something else. This is definitely a case of it just not being my genre. Okay, this is what I'm craving right now because I'm in a specific mood. I want fantasy with like a dramatic romance and like intense plot, high stakes. Like, that's what I'm craving. And instead getting this like horror mystery with like sisters and no romance at all in it is just like not hitting the spot. In the beginning, I was kind of bored because I was in a specific mood, but then when I kept listening to it, I'm interested. Like, I want to know where it's going. I think for what it is, this is like a really good book. It's kind of like The Secret Apothecary. What's that book called? The Hidden Apothecary? It's kind of like that book where it's like just not a genre that I particularly love or am in the mood for, but it's still like a good book, and I think I actually like it better than the Hidden Apothecary one. These three sisters were abducted from their parents in Scotland when they were younger, and then they returned like I think like a week later, but they were different. Like, their hair turned white, I think their eyes turned black, their teeth even changed. Like, there were all these little changes about them, and because of that, things happened with their parents and stuff. They just had like a very interesting, difficult childhood after that. But like the present moment, when you like really start getting into the story, it's them currently, but then one of their sisters goes missing, and there's this man in like a bull mask, like really creepy, just like skin, and I don't know, just creepy, and he's like following them, and you don't know why or what's happening, and it's really gross. But it's definitely an intriguing story and a good mystery so far. So those are my kind of conflicting thoughts about it, and I still want to keep reading. I'm just like scared and kind of grossed out. If you're someone who likes horror though, I doubt those things will bother you. It's just me specifically, I don't like that stuff. I get grossed out so easily by that sort of thing. I also want to mention, I'm like this much through, and it's gotten to a point where I'm actually feel like so good about it, the story now, because before I was like, what is happening? Like, I feel like I'm not connected to it enough and I'm not having enough fun reading it. But now they're sort of having like this little fun group of people get together, and they're like on the run, and it's getting fun. I just wanted to say that because funness sometimes in books like this especially, it's like super important to me because it like makes or breaks the story sometimes, and it could make the story so much. There's a character in this book named Tyler, and I'm so grateful for him because he's the comedic relief, which this book, it just made it so much better. Shout out to Tyler for the comedic relief in this book, and Vivi. but mostly Tyler. I cannot stop reading this book. It's actually got me in a chokehold at this very moment. I'm on page 247. I have this much left. It's just so crazy that I'm just like, I need to know what ends up happening. This book is going to be the reason for my lack of sleep tonight. It's just like, there's so many things I just don't understand that I like feel like I need to understand. Like, I'm so invested in it. I'm not like scared right now, but it's just like creepy and disgusting. But I was just trying to say that it's good. It is really good, and it's got me hooked. Maybe I am a little creeped out because my phone just like made a sound, and that just actually scared me. I'm gonna keep reading. Finished House of Hollows. My opinion actually ended up changing a bit because the more I read it, the more I liked it. By the end, I was like completely hooked on it, and I feel like it's just like a good book. I would give it like a 3.8. I really can't get over how gross it is. If that doesn't bother you, then this might even end up being like a 5-star read, but I can't get over that. However, in the beginning, I was kind of bored, so I really didn't think I was gonna like it. The ending was just that good. When it gets to the second half, it just gets like insanely better after that. And I feel like it could have been better, but at the same time, I was just so shocked at how much the ending really like revived it for me. I think it's like a very creative idea as well, and like, yeah, the descriptions, they were good descriptions. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video. All of my different social medias where I talk about books will be in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.